Hey, white man, look at me. Can't see me, huh? But I see you. I'm there when you wake up in the morning, serving your breakfast, washing your car, scrubbing your dirty floors, opening the door for you, and washing your windows. And all you give me is slavery, pain, humiliation, and death.
A militant, violent voice, and a familiar one. But there are other less violent black American voices who deserve attention every bit as much as this one. In this issue, Echo looks at a new generation that doesn't require threats such as these.
Well, I'm gonna make you see me, because black is beautiful, baby. You're gonna see me. I'm gonna make you see me, starting right now.
Lincoln Memorial in Washington, shrine to the man who abolished slavery over a century ago. But the dream of immediate emancipation didn't come true. Illiterate, uneducated, unequipped to deal with their sudden freedom, ex-slaves flooded into the cities to add unemployment to their list of debilities. A century of slow progress by a small minority did not, in the end, free the mass of American black citizens from abject dependence on the leftovers and handouts of American society. Winning the war against Hitler's racist, fascist state helped bring the black man's situation into focus. A feeling arose among Americans, both white and black, that it was time to turn idealism into reality. By 1964, that feeling had reached Congress. During the next 2 years, legislation was passed making equality in employment, education, public facilities and housing legally enforceable. Programs to provide special educational assistance to deprived ghetto children became law. Other programs to rescue black youth from the vicious circle of ignorance, poverty and crime were put into motion. Many, both black and white, thought the problems were solved. But laws could only create opportunities. They couldn't leap forward a generation. Nevertheless, the effect of the Equal Rights Law on the black population was immediate. They began to flaunt their African origins with a new, fierce pride. African music, African dancing became a cult pastime. More fundamentally, many delved further into their old African culture and began to learn African languages. Soon, however, other voices raised doubts about the value of such exercises. It was pointless, they argued, trying to assimilate African customs. American blacks were, after all, American. Be proud of your black skin, said the moderate voice, and by all means wear African clothes. Rediscover your cultural background, but always remember that the salvation of the American black lies here, in America. And out of this argument arose a new pride and a new slogan. Black is beautiful. A powerful emotive cry, as writer Frank Hercules explains.
It is, I think, the most revolutionary incident in the history of black Americans. And I speak of the slogan, "Black is beautiful." Not all the bullets, not all the bombs, not all the speeches, not all the movements, not all the marches have had quite the same effect in transforming the consciousness of black people in America as this slogan, "Black is beautiful."
Black is so beautiful. Black is beautiful. Don't you see? Black is a panther in the jungle now.
This is not perhaps everything the slogan makers had in mind, but black is unquestionably beautiful, and America began to realize it.
Something deep makes you laugh or makes you weep. Black is mystery.
Painters had always known it, but now it became acceptable and not merely artistic.
Don't you see? Thank you very much.
As an extension of art, the advertising industry, manufacturers of slogans themselves, jumped on the bandwagon. This model agency, run by a white woman, caters exclusively for black models. It's called Black Beauty.
Yeah. I don't think this one's right. You're a little sophisticated here, and I don't think it's right. That's not you. You have a heavy day lined up tomorrow, Marcia. You got your pencil and paper? I'll give it to you right now, honey.
Black became not only beautiful, but good. Good for advertisers, who now went to appeal direct to America's 23 million black people, to tap rising black affluence.
Well, what do you think? We think you should work on some more heads. I would like to. And the prices aren't really bad. I have a very good friend who will do it.
Very, very excited.
How long are you going for? Great.
Yes, great. I would like to.
Very nice.
Good morning, yes, sir.
Magazines and newspapers written and produced specifically for black people began to prosper. This is one of them, probably the most successful, and they call it Essence.
2931839. Janet, check out, please.
Well, how can they give us a figure?
Its market is women, black women.
We at Essence believe and know that black is beautiful, and we hope to provide the proper setting for the black woman to fulfill herself and blossom and come into her own. It's not always those, we believe, who have the loudest voices who can get the job done. It is not always those who must shout black is beautiful, who believe it or live it. And we hope here at Essence, through the pursuit of excellence, to demonstrate the value of our blackness, which we are sure is beautiful.
Spurred by this new self-confidence, an increasing number of black people are now going into businesses of their own, often employing white staff. This fashion house has, too, a wide clientele which cuts across the color barrier.
$30 a yard, but we might be able to get her down to $25.
The business is owned by Marion Holmes, one of the black Americans who do not believe in violence, but rather in the economic revolution.
Black power to me is personal power, economic power, and money power. These are the values that are most important in the world today. And when people are striving for equality, These are the things that are going to be noticed. Not bloody revolution, which is totally comprised of guns and bullets and bombings. It's individual pride. And to attain this, you have to have the same sort of pride that the rest of the proud world has. And that's why I went into business for myself.
Black is beautiful, and it's increasingly powerful and self-confident. Here in New York, the Black Renaissance is given its most pungent expression. In this Harlem studio, painter Faith Ringgold uses her palette to spread the message of black ascendancy into fields of the arts, as yet unexplored by black Americans. She is perfectly confident that black American artists will be recognized.
Right now, black art has been mostly thought of as theater and as poetry and as music. And black artists have not begun really to take their positions, but they're starting to now.
10 years ago, few of America's museums and art centers would have staged exhibitions given over entirely to black artists. That they do so now is a measure of the social advance of the past decade. This center in Boston was one of the first to open its doors to a previously unrecognized sector of the artistic community. Betty Blayton Taylor is another prominent painter. She mixes colored paints and colored politics with equal facility, but believes the differences between black and white will gradually disappear.
I consider myself both an artist and a black artist. In this point in time, living in New York City, being very much a part of all the shows that have been mounted in terms of the black arts, I feel very much a part of that movement. I do feel it's a phase, and I think that that in another 4 or 5 years, there probably won't be very much mention at all about black art.
Watts, the suburb of Los Angeles, which in 1968 erupted in an orgy of riot and burning. "Burn, baby, burn" was the slogan then. Today, Watts is still a black ghetto, but black expression has been removed from the streets to the theater.
He felt the strap tear open his little back, Lord. He ain't been called nigger. Not like white folks say it.
The play in rehearsal is typical of the black writers' workshop which flourishes here. The plays are as violent in their way as the riots, but it's confined, contained.
What's wrong with you? You crazy? You, me, our son gonna be free someday.
How? How we gonna be free?
I running away. I going north. Gonna work. By you, me, and our son freedom.
Like many others of its genre, this play deals with slavery. It's part of American black history, reconstituted as drama that many would prefer to forget. We asked author Leroy Jones if this wasn't black propaganda.
I just wrote the play because it has to do with people. Black, white, blue, green, orange, and yellow.
Jones uses violence in his plays, but didn't he think that violent methods were outdated? Isn't America violent enough?
Look at Europe. America has a long way to go in terms of the violence that has gone down in Europe. You know, we have a lot of lessons to learn from Europe in terms of violence.
Undercurrents of violence still persist among many leaders of black movements, but much more powerful in their influence are the growing number of television programs now being run by blacks and dealing exclusively with black problems.
Intended to reflect the feelings, aspirations, hopes, resentments, and frustrations in the black community. How about that?
For years, black actors and models have been prominent in American cinema and television advertising. Now, in a recognition of rising black affluence, there are programs tailored for black audiences, produced by black staff.
That's all? What part of
In achieving these gains, American blacks have found a substitute for street riots, and a more effective one. For here, integration not only works, but can be seen to be working. Black actors like Bill Cosby are some of the most sought after in films and television. Still outspoken in the demand for black equality, Cosby is one who believes the problems of his people are American problems and only American.
I'd rather not comment on it, because that's a thing that's happening here in the United States. I don't think it's anybody's business outside. I don't like to take underwear outside.
All right, ready? We shoot. We go. We shoot. I don't know. We go.
Cosby insists on a percentage of black technicians working on all his shows. As in the entire spectrum of American life, the percentage is still too small. But it's getting bigger.
Ready? Hit him now, bro.
Washington, where the power is. There are now 17 blacks sitting in the United States Congress. 10 years ago, there were only 4. 238 blacks sit in the various state legislatures. 10 years ago, there were only 52.
This is a good year, though.
And the mayor of Washington is also a black man, Walter Washington. First appointed by President Johnson, his position as chief executive of the Capitol was confirmed by President Nixon.
Which ought to be a great thing for that community.
And Washington is only one of 126 mayors and vice mayors now serving in cities across the United States. Among them, Los Angeles, America's third largest city, where a black man was elected mayor in May 1973.
That's why we're anxious to get...
Such hopeful signs of integration between black and white are many, but it's far too early for complacency. Not every black American can be mayor and live in a mansion.
To our bicentennial in 1976.
In another corner of Washington, some of the mayor's constituents.
You ready? You want me to take that in there? Don't do that. You ever gonna finish that?
The head of the household here is Mrs. Odessa Hall. She's 43 years old and has 7 children whom she raises single-handed on welfare payments of $352 a month, plus what her grown children earn. Her oldest daughter, Brenda, is soon to be married, further depleting the family income. But today there's a birthday party for one of her younger children. There'll be games, television, and an abundant feast.
Okay. B13.
Like many others, the Halls were attracted to Washington by the federal government's strict fair employment regulations, which give blacks an absolutely even footing in the civil service. The result, 70% of the city's population is black.
I-25. I-20.
The civil rights laws can't bring Mrs. Hall's husband back or give her the education she missed. But the laws do help support her family and, more importantly, give her children the chance to make the good life they see on television a part of their future. This is one of the institutions that will shape the future of Mrs. Hall's children. Since the days of slavery, the church has been the one certain factor in the lives of a great majority of America's black people. For them, the church was a place of spiritual joy, the respite from dawn to dusk labor in the cotton fields, a place of tremendous exuberance, the Negro spiritual, and later of jazz. It was from the church, too, that black leadership emerged a decade ago with Dr. Martin Luther King and his followers. And today, it's still the font of incredible energy, a place for the release of emotion.
Throat. Clear your throats quietly. Throat.
Martin Luther King preached peace, civil rights through civil action. Those who followed him spread his word that black equality needed to be gained through the American system. And today, the emphasis is not on burning, but learning.
Roast. The house was filled with the aroma of a roast. Roast.
Roast. R-O-A-S-T.
Very good. Move. Owner. The owner of the wood put up a posted sign. Owner.
Owner. O-N-W-E-R.
Okay. Shown. A carpenter has shown us how to complete this. Shown.
Shown. S-H-O-W-N.
Very good. Human. Speech is a human trait. Human.
Human. H-U-M-A-N.
And education doesn't stop when school is out. There are other lessons to be learned, and some to be unlearned, such as that policemen deserve more than the name pig, and that law and order can come with a swinging lighter touch. Many blacks have regarded the police as their natural enemies. Recruitment of more and more black police officers and the community work they do helps dispel that slander. And integration can also be made to work the other way round. This is Howard University, an all-black institution when it was founded more than a century ago. There are 500,000 blacks at college now, twice as many as only 8 years ago, and the trend is accelerating. These are about to join an emerging society, the middle-class American black society. This new society is made up of people like these, God-fearing, salary-earning, stable, ordinary Americans. Professional people, teachers, businessmen, graduates, managers. The numbers of them who are all those things and are black has doubled in a decade. Only 10 years ago, when they took to the streets, they only dreamed of this.
Black is so beautiful.
Black is beautiful. Don't you see? Black is an onyx that is gleaming bright. Black is mystery. Black is beautiful. Don't you see?
Lincoln gave them freedom, but they've won equality for themselves.